Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, make sure you share this video. I got a brother on here calling in from the prison. He's been in 29 years. It's alleged that he was involved in a DEA agent, ended up dead. I don't really want to say he killed the dude. His brother's name is Solodean. I'm going to let Solodean introduce himself and tell you about his situation. Solodean, man, tell the people who you are, tell them where you're from, and tell them why you've been in prison for 29 years.
My name is Solodean. My government name is Dedrick Smith, and I came to prison in 1992. I got charged for aiding and abetting to the murder of a DEA agent in the state of Alabama, where me and my co-defendant, I dropped my co-defendant off with Eugene Clemens. I dropped him off, and he went and he stole a car. And in the process of stealing the car, an agent was in the car, and he stole the agent for the car. I've been in, like you said, for 29 years for aiding and abetting. I was not even there when the crime took place. I was headed back home when all of this stuff took place. It wasn't a premeditated. It wasn't a malice of forethought type of murder. This is just something that just happened in the heat of the moment.
And listen, man, I know it's strict justice down there in Alabama, right?
Right.
You've been in prison 29 years, right? You started out at a penitentiary?
Right, started out at penitentiary, yes.
What was your first prison?
My first prison was USC Atlanta.
That's when Atlanta was jumping back then, huh?
Yeah, that's when it was still on some real offense.
Let me ask you, how old were you when this happened, man?
I was 21 when it happened.
21 years old, and you're sentenced.
I was 22 when I was convicted.
Okay, so you're 21 when this happens, 22 when you're convicted. What did it feel like, man, being a 22-year-old and hearing the words, "I'm sending you to prison for the rest of your life"?
Man, that was an unbelievable feeling because, at first I really didn't think that they could, because everything that they had upon me was only hearsay, and everything that they had on me was really nothing because the majority of the people that were given to immunity had more involvement than I did. I just dropped them off. Yes, it was about a car, just like the third. But at the end of the day, you had these other guys that they got immunity to get less time than I did. So at that particular time, when you said 22, man, and the man said a life sentence, I couldn't really believe it. And then, like, even in my trial, I had a not guilty verdict with the gun in my charge. So I thought that when I had the not guilty verdict and with the gun in my charge, I just knew that they couldn't convict me with the murder. You know what I'm saying? But when they said you got an 8 and a better than 18 USC 2, with the 11, 14, 8 and a better, it doesn't matter if you were there or not in this one.
So, Solodean, let me ask you a question. I mean, you couldn't believe it when you were sentenced. I mean, did you think that, going to trial that you would end up with a life sentence? Did you think that was the ultimate, outcome if you were to lose? Did you know that at the time?
No, I didn't really think that if I lost, I would get a life sentence. Because, like I said, I wasn't the killer in my case. So I thought that, hey, maybe, I could win here. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, nothing really, they had no fingerprints, no hair follicles, none of this type of thing. The only thing that they had on me was the testimony of the guys that were more involved with me. Even like with my co-defendant, when he first got caught, he made a statement that implicated me as well. I never made a statement when he was caught. So it was just, certain things that when we went to trial, I just never thought that I would be convicted. Just like I said, when they came with the not guilty verdict with the gun, and then when they came back and they asked questions because they were confused about the charge. Because I think when you look at the jury transcript, if the jury would have known that I was going to exactly get a life sentence, then I don't think they would have convicted me because they convicted me not with the gun. And the judge told them that you can't worry about the sentence or worry about the punishment, just find him guilty or not guilty.
Let me ask you this. Was there a plea agreement in the case by any chance?
That was the plea agreement, but I didn't know about it until afterwards. And then in 2000, I went back to trial. I went back to an evidentiary hearing on that in 2000. With one of my lawyers came back and she took the stand and said that she told me about the plea offer, but the prosecutor lied on the stand and said that there was no plea offer ever made, and the plea offer was for 20 years. But I know she took the stand to cover herself, and the lawyer that they had gave me before we went back to evidence, and he told me that she would do it. He said, man, if you put her on the stand, she's going to say that she told you about the plea offer. And I said, well, you don't have anything in writing or anything to implement. I mean, to say that, hey, I did go up to this county jail and we did talk about a plea agreement, which we didn't talk about a plea agreement. We talked about a plea agreement. We talked about me not being guilty, all the way through the trial. But nobody never came to me and said, hey, this is what's on the table. I found about this later on when I found out through the probation officer, because the probation officer asked me, yo, why didn't you take it? And I said, well, I didn't know I had a plea. So she was like, so you mean you tell me you didn't know that you had a plea agreement? I was like, no, I didn't know.
Let me ask you this. Had you known about the plea agreement, would you have accepted it? Would you have taken 20 years at the age of 21?
Of course. At 21, yeah, 20.
The reason I ask you that is because my mission with my channel is to save kids from life imprisonment and premature death, right? And I want them to know, man, that you were facing, at the age of 21, man, you're facing a life sentence, but you were willing to take a plea agreement for the amount of time that you had already been on the earth. You were willing to take that because I want them to know that sometimes you're put in a position, man, where you have to accept a plea offer like that, right?
Right. You most definitely set in a position because, it's like either that or you get this slow death. Like this. You know what I'm saying? This is like being on death row too, but it's just a slower death. You know what I'm saying? You're here for the rest of your life because people get the misconception that you get a life sentence and you get out in 25. Not in the feds, because the feds don't have parole. They don't have any of those types of things. So when you get a life sentence, it's just a life sentence. So
say that again. When you get life, say that again for me so the viewers can hear that.
When you get life in the feds, the life is just life. You know what I'm saying? It's not a 25 year. You don't use 25 years and get out. No, life is life in the feds. You know what I'm saying? When they give you a life sentence in the feds, it is life.
And Salamine, you've been in prison for 29 years, right?
29 years.
The best years of your life, they're gone, man. Forever lost. You ever sit back in your cell and think about that?
Oh, man, I think about it all the time. I think about it every day, man. Think about, the bad choice that I made, you know what I'm saying? Because, I used to blame everybody for me being here, man. But at the end of the day, man, I put myself in. You know what I'm saying? For the wrong choice and for being around the wrong people. And I regret it, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I used to blame everybody, But at the end of the day, I take a look alone, look in the mirror, like, yo, I put myself in. Nobody else did this to me.
And this was over what, a carjacking?
Over a car, yeah.
And what kind of car was it, man? I'm just curious.
It was a 1992 Camaro, one of the brand new that just come out.
So for a 1992 Camaro, what do you think it was worth back then? 40 grand?
Back then, probably something like, it might have been like that. IROC Camaro, yeah, it might have been like 20.
So really for, $40,000, $40,000, you lost your life, right?
Lost my life.
Man, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm sad to hear that, man. And where's your co-defendant at right now?
My co-defendant is, I think he's in, if I'm not mistaken, he's in the state of Alabama right now.
And he's on death row, right?
Yeah, he's on death row.
Did they give him a death sentence in the feds or in the state system?
Oh, I just gave him a death in the state. In the feds, they gave him the same as me. He has the life sentence.
And no one knew that this was a DEA agent. It was just, I'm going to rob this car.
No, nobody knew. He didn't even know. Like I said, I wasn't even there to know what happened or what transpired at that particular time.
I'm sure you guys didn't talk about, well, hey, look, I'm going to go rob this Camaro, drop me off over here, I'm going to kill this guy. That ain't how it went, right?
Nah, that's not how it went. Like I said, man, everything at that particular time, man, happened in the heat of the moment. It wasn't something that was planned. It wasn't something that was premeditated. You know what I'm saying? Especially not killing this guy. You know what I mean?
Do you think that people, I want to say this the right way, right? Because, we got kids killing kids every day around here, right? In my city. I want these kids to understand, man, that you might plan on, hey, I'm going to go rob this guy. I'm going to go carjack him. And sometimes people end up dead, right?
Yeah, sometimes. A lot of times, you know.
And that's never the plan. That's not the plan going in. But then someone ends up dead. Now you're looking at real time. You're looking at a real investigation. They're not going to play games when someone gets murdered, right? They don't just blow that off, right?
Right. Especially when it's the officer. You know you're not gonna get it.
Let me ask you this. When you found out that this guy was dead, right? I mean, you're not arrested right away. Did you know that he was dead before you were arrested?
I knew the very next day.
What did you think when you found out that the dude was dead? I mean, what went through your mind? Were you like, oh, man, oh, shit, I'm in trouble?
Yeah, no doubt. I was like, oh, man, this is crazy. So then I'm like, yo, because then I didn't tell anybody. Then I had to wind up telling my girl, like, yo, I bought this dog. She's like, what? Like, yeah, so I didn't really say anything, but my co-defendant, from the things that he did at the spot that we were at, so people already knew, because the spot where we were at, we sold drugs, we had all type of high performance cars, you know, all type of stuff was going on in this particular area in Birmingham, Alabama, the western area of called Eureka. So in that area where we was at, you know, people would already know that, hey man, these dudes are doing this type of thing, because we had, you know, all type of the, you know, the IROC, Grand National, SS money, so all these type of things were parked out in front of the house. So people would know, and you know, we were into buying stolen cars and stuff like that.
So he was buying stolen cars. These weren't really his cars. These were stolen cars, right?
Well, that car was.
How about the other cars?
No, the other cars were legit.
I can't imagine him having all these legit cars and wanting to go steal a car, man. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it?
He's not. He wasn't. That wasn't him. Now those wasn't his car. I'm talking about just the cars of the people that I'm around. That, you know.
Okay.
At that area, that wasn't him at all.
Okay, so he goes and steals his car. Maybe he wants to be like the rest of the people. Like, man, I got a nice car now too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but they, you know, at the end of the day, they said the car was for me, because the whole thing in the trial was that I needed a motor for my car, so I took them to steal the car.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
And that got you a life sentence.
It got me a life sentence, but the process, the thing is, that, see, because nobody knew, like neither one of my coaches, like I have another coach that was with us, neither one of us knew we had a gun, so we never knew that he could actually go. The thing was them to go steal a car, not to strong arm or rob or kill somebody for a car.
Man. So your co-defendant, he's been on death row for how long? 29 years?
Yeah, about no, not that long. He hasn't been on there that long, because he went to the Fed first, and then the state came back and they tried it.
So the state comes back, they try him, they give him the death sentence. What, you think they're going to end up putting him to death?
I don't know. I doubt it.
I mean, they kill a lot of people in Alabama, don't they?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't, you know, I guess. I mean, I really don't know about the state system, because I haven't really been, you know, I mean, I'm a first-time offender. I'm a first-time offender. I've never been in trouble.
Hold on. First-time offender, you drop this dude off. You drop the dude off. What happens is he ends up killing someone, and now you got a life sentence, and he's got a death sentence.
Yep.
So these people will give you life at the age of 21, even if you didn't kill anybody, huh?
Even if you didn't kill anybody.
Let's talk about some of the prisons you've been in, man. You've been down a long time, so you've seen the system change, right?
Oh, man, I've seen it go from sugar to shit, yo. You know, like I said, I went to Atlanta, the Bird. I've been in Atwater. I've been in Victorville. I've been in Jessup. I've been in Eshdale. I've been in Edgefield. Man.
What was the most dangerous prison you've been in?
It would have to be going through what's the name was dangerous too. Everybody, even though it was a holdover, Lewisburg was, you know, one of the most dangerous. Lewisburg, and I would say probably Atlanta, because back in the day, you know, even though, you know, people were like trying to get to Atlanta, man, Atlanta, it was a lot of killing going on in Atlanta. It wasn't nothing really faithful. Like I said, like I've never been to jail. I've never been to prison before.
Yeah.
So when I got to prison, you know, my first time getting there, I'm looking at, you know, dudes with gauges on, dudes had Rolex watches, dudes, you know, still had stuff like we was on the street. Like I said, this was, I'm like, damn, this is hell. You know what I'm saying? but I know in certain jails, in certain jails, like especially North and all this type of thing, that you get to wear your gear like that. But I didn't think in the feds because you think you have to wear certain things in the feds. But you have different types of uniforms: green, brown, blue. But dudes also had gators and Rolex watches. We had money back then. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, I watched it go from as they used to say, 12 feds to what it is now, and then that all later they came behind the 1995 crack riot. If the crack riot would have never happened, the feds would almost probably be the same now today. But when the crack riot happened, it really killed everything. And then when the feds started picking up all of these cases that's not even the federal cases, and start bringing everybody in here, then everything started changing.
It's, you said there was a lot of killings, right? You ever see anybody get killed in federal prison?
Oh yeah, I seen 2 people get killed in federal prison.
Where was that at?
In Atlanta.
Seen 2 people murdered in Atlanta.
Yeah, actually I was using the bathroom at one time and heard a dude get killed and just walked around the back. Right there, I didn't actually see the building, but I seen him laying right there with the blood coming out of his throat.
Did it affect you to see that this dude was killed?
Well, nah, I just got out of there, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, you don't want to be around stuff like that because the first time something happened like that is like
Well,
when I seen it, I just I got out of there and went to go told my man, I'm like, yo, let's go, let's get out of here because somebody just got stabbed real bad in the bathroom.
what'd they kill him over? You remember?
Homosexual.
Oh, so the dude killed the dude over a homosexual.
Over homosexual.
Was it a DC dude?
No, it wasn't a DC. I think they said it was somebody from Florida at that particular time. But like I said, I never really seen the dude who actually did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just seen the dude, like I said, when I went around, I was like, oh shit. I leave and bounce and go and tell people like, yo, let's get out of here.
If the average person seen someone stabbed in the street, bleeding, blood all over the place, it would affect them. You hear me? The average person, it would affect. You don't feel like that affected you?
I mean, to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? But it affects you, but you got to get over. You got to get over with because at the end of the day, this is what goes on in here. You know what I'm saying? When things doesn't go right, money doesn't touch, or when homosexuals or things happen like that, it goes on.
So listen, the reason I say that is because I believe that prison affects people, man. It makes your heart turn black. It makes you, where you become immune to violence and hatred and anger. It's just a part of the day. And that's the point I want to get across on the show that, federal prison, state prison, I mean, you're in the feds, but it does affect you, man. It actually affects you to the point where you don't really care anymore. Where it's like, hey, it's just another day. You believe that to be true?
Oh, man, to a certain extent. Because, like I talk to different people, and a lot of guys have been in the States, and a lot of guys have been here, like in the feds myself, and a lot of guys said they would rather be in the States because the States is more physical and the feds is more mental. And I could understand that because, this thing, this monster does play a very, 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 it messes with your mental, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you locked up in this place, man, and nobody really cares. So it does make you become that when you get your heart gets hard. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you like, man, damn, you got people in here that don't even look at people as people. You know what I'm saying? They look at you just an inmate. An inmate is not even a man to some of these people. It's like an inmate is like once to being an animal.
Yeah.
And I understand that, sometimes we look at like that because at the end of the day, you look at some of the actions that we do. You know what I'm saying? You got dudes in here, that really weak. When you in this jail, man, you literally got mental problems that's going on. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It's a lot of mental shit that's going on in there. A lot of dudes need psychological help in here. You know what I'm saying? For a man to pull out his back off on the one who's fully clothed and, just disrespect her like that, man, something wrong with him psychologically. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to put this dude in a shoe, and you know what I'm saying? You think it's just because you put him in a shoe and then you put him in a jumper that this is going to make him better, but it's not going to make him better. You know, he has something that's going on with him that people are not looking at. It's like even when we come in here, I was listening to the song about IQ, and he was talking about, society sent people to jail where they're worst people, where they're failed in society. But the whole thing he said is not the people, but it's the society that has failed the people. And this is what you got when you come in here. And this jail shit is crazy. Like now, you got this new drug, K2. These dudes are strung out on this shit. This shit is like the new crack in here. You know what I mean? The joint is crazy, man. You watch these dudes, it's like now, and you try to talk to these dudes like, yo, what you doing this for? The dudes trying to escape because it's mental. You know, they trying to get out of prison, but they don't know how to really get out of prison. And the prison is right there in their mind, but they want to supposed to think they're gonna get away with it or to leave. And I'm like, yo, when you leave, you're gonna come right back to us. And what do you do then? I still get high again. So mentally, yeah, man, it does drain.
It's crazy. It
does harden your heart.
And listen, man, I agree with you, right? I want to, before we close the show, I want to give you an opportunity, man. Is there anything you want to say? And I'm going to have one more question for you when you get done.
Well, yeah, man, I really want to say, man, even till, I know that what I did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I understand my part. But I'm asking for forgiveness, man. I'm asking for another chance. I'm asking for anybody to help me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a bad guy. Yeah, 29 years ago, I made a mistake. Just one mistake. You know what I'm saying? That one mistake caused me to be incarcerated for a life sentence and being in the prison for 29 years. Yeah. Nobody really wants to help you because when they look at your case and your case deals with an officer being killed, everybody tends to turn away, showing away like, no, I don't want to help you. But then I felt like I was telling the sister, Dominita, and I was like, yo, why is it that a cop can kneel and put his knee on a man's neck and deliberately, premeditatedly, wouldn't matter the foresight, kills him, and he gets 22 years. 22 years, killing this man on TV. But here it is, I'm getting a life sentence, and I never was even there to watch this man get killed. I never even ordered this man to get killed. Period. Now I understand this was the officer, and I understand that he was somebody's son, he was somebody's uncle, he was somebody's father. And I have sympathy for that. And in that particular time, my lawyer didn't even want me to say, hey, man, I'm sorry for what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because my lawyer was against me as well. But I wanted that family to know that. I was telling them, hey, man, listen, it was never my sister for their son to lose their life. And I am sorry that I had a part of that.
Hey.
Because had I not dropped him off, then I wouldn't be on your show asking you for help, or asking you to reach out to certain people to help me get a time reduction, because I was the rest of my life in jail. Period, at all, man. I know the case, and this and the third is like, I reached out to Whitney and all of these, what's the lady's name? But it's a friend, but I reached out to her, you know what I'm saying? And everybody, Maya Angela Cody. I reached out to her, reached out to all of these people. None of these people, Sean King, none of these people really want to help because of this. Because of the trial. And I try to tell people, hey, man, don't look at who I was then. Look at who I am now. Call down to the jail. Tell them to pull up, hey, man, listen, send me his record. This is what he's sending to. And it'll show, like, who I am today, not who I was yesterday.
Hey, man, I understand, man. And honestly, man, I really, truly hope you get a second chance to reclaim your life, man. You've been there a long time. I know you weren't the shooter. You didn't plan on this guy getting killed, and I hate to say that accidents happen, but, I mean, this dude was killed, man, but that wasn't the plan. You weren't part of that plan, and I really do hope you get a second chance. I'm going to ask you one last question before I close the show, man. If you could say something to, because the show's centered on helping kids, right? And you were a kid, man. You went to prison as a kid and got a life sentence. So what I'm going to ask you is this. What would you tell your younger self on that day? If you could change all things, what would you tell yourself, man?
What would I tell myself? I would tell myself to stop, to think, and to listen. Because at the end of the day, man, once you get in here, it's like easy to get in, but it's hard to get out. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't play fair. I would tell my younger self, man, think about what you're about to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Think about the consequences. Because as a young person, we really don't think about the consequences. We really don't understand about what we're doing at that particular time. People think that because when you're 21 years of age, like you were grown, but you're really not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're still young because you still have that child mentality. 21 is just a number. You see what I'm saying? You got people in here or people still out on the street that's 80 and 14 40 and 50, but you look at their mentality, they're the age of their shoe size. But at a particular time, man, I was still young. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was 21 and you consider me grown, I wasn't grown right then. I was still a child because this is child, the children do childish things. And that was a childish thing that happened. But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell them, I said, man, listen, you got to understand your responsibility. When you come to jail, Chad, man, you lose all your responsibilities in your life. And you give your responsibilities to your responsibilities to people who don't care about you, who just treat you as a number, man. They don't care, you know what I'm saying? I try to tell dudes that who keep coming back and forth. I'm like, yo, why would you keep coming back to me? You know what I'm saying? And I know this becomes a safe haven for some people because at the end of the day, yo, it saved me. Because if I had been still out there on the streets, I would be dead. Not from somebody killing me, but I was wilding out there. You know what I mean? So at that particular time, this really saved me because I'm hitting all these black colleges, Howard and all this, having all this unprotected stuff. Like, I probably would have been dead at anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, or something else because, you know, you still got jealous dudes out there, you know, you doing this and doing that. And I could have been dead either way. But I would tell my younger self, or I would tell those that are out there who are committing these type of crimes, hey man, listen, it's easy to get in. And I know you may be having fun right now, but when you come behind this wall, it is not nothing to play with. You got to strip out every time people tell you to strip out. You know what I'm saying? And some of these guards humiliate you, make you bend over, spread your cheeks, these type of things. You know what I'm saying? You want to degrade yourself like that. Have your people come up here being degraded, being searched, going out to their car, they stripping their cars down or making them strip in there because they feel like you're doing something and they just doing it out of spite. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody Grandize prison. Hey man, you got to do this to get creds and all that, and that's yes. Because at the end of the day, yo, this is not where it's supposed to be. I wouldn't wish this on my worst day, being incarcerated, because it's not fun unless you coming in here to learn your lessons. You know, because back in the day, we used to tell you that when you came to prison, it was like going to the university because dudes come out either smarter and in school at that particular time. Not now. Dudes coming in jail and they getting dumber, and they're leaving dumber.
I hear you, man. Listen, man, I'm gonna close the show, but I want people to know what he just said. He said it's easy to get in and hard to get out, and that's the truth. You can have the best lawyer in the world and never get out. So listen, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I'm going to put this brother's information up. So, if you want to contact him or help out his cause, you'll have that info. Listen, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Check out the book, Blood on the Razor Wire. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. And until tomorrow, I'm out.